perfectionism, it's hard, but you have to get it under wraps. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on life. And it's actually a form of shame. And I want to be better about having that shame resilience. Like no one's perfect. We cannot be. And so we have to recognize that. And once we do that, then we can finally, move forward. There's a difference between striving to be like, what do I need to do versus what are others going to think about, me.
Hello, and welcome to the Evolve Vets podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bethany Weinheimer. Hello, and welcome to the Evolve Vets podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bethany Weinheimer, and today we are meeting with Dr. Cheryl York. Cheryl, thank you so much for being with us.
Of course.
We met back when I was just a baby vet, and I had started doing the Power of 10 leadership program, and you were one of my mentors during that time. For me, it was so special because you were somebody that I really looked up to. You were this beautiful combination of vulnerable, open, and also committed to the younger generation. And you always showed up so authentic and honest. And that's always stood out to me. So I'm so honored to have you on our podcast today. And you've even engaged with the Evolve Vets community in many ways. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I'm just so excited to have you here with me today and enjoying our TVMA conference together.
Yeah. Happy to be here.
Yay, that's so exciting. So Cheryl, tell us a little bit about your journey in veterinary medicine. How did you get here?
Yeah, so I was a little girl in second grade that wanted to be a vet. And as time went on, I realized I wanted to go into computer science, actually, and did not want to be a veterinarian. And as I started making that journey, I started taking a couple of computer science classes. And I quickly realized I was way too social for that. I did not want to sit behind a desk for the rest of my life. I wanted to engage with people, and I had to really think about what I wanted to do. And I went back to kind of my childhood dream, and I applied to vet school and went to A&M is where I graduated vet school. And then beyond that, I work with the Texas Veterinary Medical Association. So I was a student representative when I was in vet school. And after, graduating vet school, I moved out to California for a few years. That's where I had met my husband, or we were dating at the time, and lived there for a few years. We ended up having a child, and we came back to Texas to be closer to family. And that's where I've been since. And I am a small animal practitioner in Austin right now. I am a medical director at a privately owned practice. So my practice owner has 3 locations, and I manage one of them. And the other big thing that I really enjoy is empowering others. I want my team to be empowered. I want us to all make decisions. I want to help others. And going back to TVMA, just being a student, being their representative, I kind of found my niche that way. And that's kind of where I am now. So we're at this conference. I sit on the board of directors.
How did you get there? Tell us everything. You started out, it sounds like, as a student, as a TVMA representative. And for those of y'all listening, TVMA as in Texas VMA, we both are from Austin. And so that's all how we met.
Yeah. So whenever I was a student, this is the really interesting part. So I decided I wanted to go be a representative for TVMA. And I wanted to be part of an organization. And I found interest in organized veterinary medicine. I realized if we don't protect our profession, who is going to do that? And I realized it's us. We have to be the ones to help protect our profession. But interestingly, the other part for why I wanted to be a student delegate is I actually have a fear of public speaking.
Intro the Evolve Vets podcast here.
Yeah. So I knew I was going to have to get up in front of large audiences, with our vet students, the whole student body. I eventually want to be the TVMA president, which is obviously going to need public speaking skills to be able to do that. And so part of my journey is pushing myself, beyond my comfort zone to be able to do that. And so that's actually part of the reason why I wanted to be a student delegate, just the interest in advocacy for our profession that led me to be part of TVMA. So I realized I wanted to sit on our board of directors. The body helps to govern, TVMA. So there are different aspects, of that, but I wanted to help be a voice. And I actually tried to apply twice within my district. So it's a regional district. And I actually failed twice. I was up against other men, whether they were more, well-known in the Austin area or, just different personal, connections. I did not make it. So the third go around, there was an at-large position, which was open. So that essentially means that everyone that is a TVMA member within the state of Texas gets to help vote for that position. So I decided to do that and ran against very well-known people within our profession. Did not think I would actually end up being, able to
elected.
Yeah. And I got it.
That's
and
so exciting.
I have now been on the board of directors for 3 years at this point. So
that's such a beautiful story. I think the things that stand out to me are, one, you didn't give up when it got hard, right? You persevered, and that is such an amazing quality. And to me, that leads back into this concept of every vet is a leader. And so we have to challenge ourselves to develop our leadership qualities, which reminds me of the other point that you made, which is I wanted to be a voice for the profession, and yet my biggest fear was public speaking. And so instead of running from it, you showed up and you said, okay, how can I work on this a little bit better? It reminds me of when I was a new grad. I think I was like 6 months out of school. I had started doing overnight solo, and I was on this shift with an overlapping veterinarian, and we had a customer come in, and the nurses came to the back and said, oh my goodness, it's like there's a crazy owner in, room 3. And everybody is nose goes, not me. Sure. And I was like, okay, I want to do it. I want to be the person. I see this as an opportunity to learn to communicate better. And so if you go into those opportunities with I want to learn to be a better public speaker, even though it's scary. In those moments, I was terrified. What does a crazy customer even mean? I didn't even know what that meant at that point. And what is this labeling that we're assigning? And then the reality was I went in there and they were just scared or sad, and they had been labeled a certain way. But the truth is it was my opportunity to rise. And those moments are what actually elevate you as a leader. It's not getting the title. It's saying wow, this is really scary for me, and I want to try it anyway. And I might fail, and that's okay. But I'm going to try again and again. Yeah. I love that. So at the Evolve Vets, we commonly help people find their niche. It's all about community. We want women to be able to come together in medicine to connect and share their vulnerabilities, their challenges, and what they're going through. It sounds like you were able to find a version of community in the TVMA. So can you tell me a little bit about the leadership skills that you've learned throughout TVMA, or what drew you to it? What characteristics drew you to being an organized vet med?
Yeah, great question. So one, I kind of naturally got involved in TVMA, one from the advocacy portion of it and just representing our profession. But what surprised me going into all of this was the networking. It was much more profound than what I thought it was going to be. And it has helped me build that sense of community with others. It's, communicating, it's relationships, it's all of those things. So, for example, I was talking with someone, a veterinarian last night, and because I have some friends, they're potentially looking for, a job change. And I'm like, well, wait. I know, this person, let me connect you guys. Like the networking just has gone so far and has shocked me. And it helps you to know that you're not alone. When you have other people with you, it makes it easier to have, to go through your journey, as being a vet.
And the truth is, veterinary medicine is hard. It's a hard profession. The job we do is intense at times, and trying to go through it alone is too much. Like, find your people, find your niche, find the things that you're passionate about, and then connect. And that does take vulnerability, right? It takes effort. Like, are you going to show up, the night before, or, we have a social event tonight and I'm lecturing tomorrow for 4 hours. So, part of me is like, oh, I should, go home and study. But then the other part of me is like, I just need to show up, because half of this journey is actually engaging with people, sharing with them, but it's also my responsibility to be present. So the next time your community comes together, are you showing up? Are you attending the meetings? Are you engaging in dinners? Are you going out and meeting the people in your community? Because it's easy to say, oh, I'm just going to go to lecture and go home. But the connection piece is so huge. And that takes a lot of extra time too. You're volunteering, right? Like it's a lot of your extra free time that you're dedicating to this organization.
Yeah. I mean, it sure is. It does take the time, but it also gives you purpose. And without purpose, it's hard to be whole.
Yeah, totally agree.
Let me speak directly to the woman who feels like she's barely holding it all together. You are still competent. You are still high functioning. Your team probably thinks you're fine. Your family probably just thinks you're a little disconnected. But inside, you're exhausted, irritable, disconnected, and wondering if you chose the wrong path. Code Blue Coaching is not about quitting veterinary medicine. You've already invested $250,000 or more in your education, and there's also been time, energy, love, and compassion given to vet med too. This is about reclaiming yourself inside of vet med instead of giving up on it. Over 6 months, I partner with you and hold your hand as we identify patterns keeping you in survival mode. We rewire the perfectionism loop that constantly happens, rebuild your self-trust and your self-worth, create boundaries you can actually hold, and you have your accountability from yours truly. Don't forget, we also get a one-on-one personalized recovery protocol just for you that will help you for years beyond our coaching time together. So what you get is accountability, nervous system tools, and a true hand-holding pattern that will help you through with a white glove experience. And if you've been waiting for permission to choose yourself, now is the time. Make that extra moment to prioritize you so that way you can sustain your career in vet med. Now, if this calls to you or you're curious, go to evolvevets.com where you can learn more and book an alignment call with me so that way we can better discuss if this is the right next step for you. I hope to see you in there and that we can stop this Code Blue moment.
I love that TVMA has given you that sense of purpose and that you're also working on ways to bring that into your hospital too.
Yeah. So there was actually a quote from one of our mentors that we had in vet school. His name is Dr. Dan Posey.
Love
and
him.
I know. So he actually works with the AVMA right now, and he just finished up an elected position with them right now. That is, for those of you who are not aware, it's our American Veterinarian Medical Association, so our national association. So he had a really good quote that I picked up from him this morning. And he said that strong relationships make difficult times manageable. Successes make it more meaningful together. And I found that so powerful. And that's where the TVMA has helped with, purpose and a sense of community and belonging.
Oh, that's so good. Thank you for sharing the wisdom of Dr. Dan Posey. He's affected many of us throughout vet school and obviously now at the AVMA level, which is so exciting. I love that. Now, Cheryl, I want to get a little bit into our thought process around career path. What I see at the Evolve Vets and throughout women in medicine everywhere are there's these themes: perfectionism, overwhelm, maybe having too much on our plate, self-abandonment are things that we commonly see, especially in the Evolved Vets community, because people are opening up and we're hearing about these vulnerabilities. I know that I've experienced all three of those on my path. Is that something that you've experienced? And what advice would you give to other females in medicine that might be experiencing some of those characteristics or obstacles in their path?
Yeah. So I absolutely.
Yes, that's me.
Yes, I'm the perfectionist to a T, and it's hard going through that. And what I've had to realize is when I can't go through that alone. So being able to share stories, being able to be vulnerable and actually have conversations with your friends, someone that you trust, can help you through that journey. But yes, I think I've always been scared of failing. And whenever that happens, if you don't make yourself vulnerable, if you don't give yourself self-care and self-love, you're going to hit life paralysis, which is something that Dr. Brené Brown talks about in her leadership books. And I feel like a lot of us probably have hit that at some point. You're just scared to make the jump. You're scared of failure. But we have to realize that if we don't do that, we're missing so many opportunities to improve, to find that purpose, to find that meaning, to find your place, to find your niche.
Yeah, for me, like I remember kind of playing with this idea of like maybe I am a perfectionist, but then part of me like didn't want to even admit it because then it would have to admit that I wasn't perfect, which is like kind of the whole irony of perfectionism. I don't know if you experience that too, but I just remember being like, thinking like maybe that's me, and then be like, absolutely not, that's not me. And then slowly over time, I was like, shit, I think that's me. And I think like as we coach and guide so many women in medicine through this journey, like I think they all have to face this moment of just being like, I think I have to claim this in order to heal it. Yeah. And if I don't name it, I can't, and I don't claim it, then I can't move forward.
Yeah. So that's you. I mean, you nailed it. It's perfectionism. It's hard, but you have to get it under wraps. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on life. And it's actually a form of shame. And I want to be better about having that shame resilience. Like no one's perfect. We cannot be. And so we have to recognize that. And once we do that, then we can finally, move forward. There's a difference between like striving to be like, what do I need to do versus what are others going to think about, me. And
yes, that's so true. I was doing a podcast interview earlier this week, and we were talking about the same concept of like, why is perfectionism so high? One, we go through school, we have, check all the boxes, make all the good grades, get all the extracurricular hours. But then the other part that I've realized over time is once we get into the field, there's judgment, and that judgment actually creates and reinforces this perfectionistic behavior. The judgment can come from clients, right? Like, I'm going to sue you. You're only in it for the money, whatever the judgments might be. And so we try to defend and protect against that. And then the judgments might also come from somebody saying that you're a bad doctor, or you missing something, and that feeling of noticing another veterinarian make a comment about a fellow colleague, and then, noticing the shrinking or noticing what that does in you. And there's something in you that says, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be talked about like that. So I'm going to do everything that impossible to make sure I'm perfect and that I don't get shamed, or I'm not outside the circle. I want to be included. And so then there's this like judgment of self that comes too, not only from like the growing up and the performing piece, but then also from like a self-protection piece. Like it comes from a good place. Our nervous system thinks that being perfect is going to shield us from the challenges of the world. But really, once we start to name it and move forward, that's when we start to see the forward progress, and we actually can, I don't know, I just see lives transform because there's not as much pressure. It's more of a relaxed approach to, okay, I can do this. I'm allowed to make mistakes, and I'm allowed to move forward. So to all the women in medicine out there, what is one piece of advice that you would give them if they're in the middle of this transition or this process of discovering these traits?
I feel like you need to know that it's okay. We're all going to experience it. Give yourself some compassion. Like, it is okay to know that we're not going to be perfect. And you have to have the courage to be able to stand up for yourself, to be able to give yourself self-love. I think that's probably the most important thing, because if you can't accept that or allow that, we're going to miss opportunities to be able to move forward.
I completely agree with you. Self-love is the key. Self-love has got to be the key. And when you start to express self-love, it actually develops self-compassion for yourself. But then that translates to other people. So it's this like beautiful expansion of grace and compassion towards the people around you, which is so, so special. I love that. So Cheryl, it was really special. Back in June of 2024, I think we were both at the Austin Vet Conference in Austin, where we live.
It was AVMA.
Yeah. Oh, was it AVMA?
Yeah, it was
okay.
AVMA.
So we were both at the AVMA conference in Austin, and we came together, brought this group of women together. There was 8 of us total, and it was our very first Evolve Vets event. It was so sweet. We had chief veterinary officers, chief medical officers, depending on the company. There were new grads, there were vet students, medical directors, ER vets, general practice vets, head of leadership developments for other companies. Like, it was just this profound group of women. And that was when we first started having this conversation around, do we need to formulate a community for women in vet medicine? And is this going to help people connect? And really, we started to talk about this concept of energy management, which is what the people in our community right now are working through together. And so I just think it's a beautiful tie-in. And that's kind of where the Evolve Vets kicked off. And then now really getting to experience that with our members real time. So I'm curious, like, what did you learn from having that variety of group of women together? And then, like, what did you take away from it, and what have you learned?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I took away from that is I realized I'm not alone. Like, we all have, one thing or 2 things that we know that we need to work on, and that's okay. Like, again, we're not perfect, but I realized that all these other women were experiencing the same things, and maybe it wasn't the exact same topics or things that we were dealing with, but I realized I had my sense of community to then help me figure out, well, how do I move past the difficulties that I'm having in my life right now to be a better person, to be a better leader, to, be a better mom, overall. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I took away from that is I'm not alone, and there are people to help me down that path.
Yeah. And just for me, the thing that really stood out was this overwhelming vulnerability from people that I looked up to. And I'm like, oh, they always have it all together. This room is just filled with people that I looked up to.
Yeah.
And as I looked around and they were saying like, no, I feel trapped by this underlying expectation that I am a mom and I'm working, but like the balance between those 2 things and the challenges of needing to be warm but firm in the hospitals and how to show up in a boardroom in the right ways. So for me, it was like so reaffirming to know that no matter what level you're at, we're all as women in medicine, like kind of challenged with the same obstacles, and together we can help, pull each other up the mountain.
Yeah, it was the support, that we could have strangers that I just met to be vulnerable, but then, be able to like help you out along your journey. Like we're here to support each other.
And I think,
and that's all that we want. Like,
yes, that's all that we want. Leader. Yeah, as a leader, exactly. And I think the other thing that really stands out to me that is so inspiring with this group of women is I've faced many women along the path that don't celebrate with you and your success, that it comes with like a sense of maybe jealousy. But to be in a room full of women that were truly like, I want everybody in this room to be doing good, and I'm here to support you, and I'm here to cheer you on. And, Evolve Vets is a very different niche than maybe general practice, or the people that were doing emergency medicine, or the people that were there from, a chief veterinary officer standpoint. Everybody had a different perspective, but we were all there to cheer each other on. Like, we left that conversation with people getting job offers and, like, hey, come tour my hospital. I'd love for you to come see. And just that sense of connection was so special. So I love that you brought that piece up. Thanks.
If you love this podcast, you find yourself nodding along, thinking, this is exactly how I feel at work, and sometimes even outside of work, then I want to invite you to something even bigger. Come with me to the Evolve Vets membership. It's my online home and community for women in veterinary medicine who are done surviving and ready to start evolving. Inside the membership, you're going to find race-approved masterclasses, vet reset meditations, live monthly coaching with yours truly, and a community of women who actually get it. It's not toxic positivity. It's not just another membership you sign up for. It's learning how to manage your energy, protect your boundaries, and build a sustainable career in veterinary medicine. It's your choice to move from self-abandonment to self-devotion. And the truth is, you don't have to do it alone, my friend. Come evolve with us.
And at the Evolve Vets, we commonly talk about the way to have a sustainable career in veterinary medicine is by doing things outside of your work. You are a veterinarian, but you're also a mom, a wife, a medical director. You know, there's so many other avenues to who you are, and same for me. So what are the things that you find passion in outside of work that make you feel excited about life?
Yeah, awesome question. I will also say, and to start it off, this is probably my weakness. So it's one thing I realized, going through, that first meeting with the Evolve Vets it was taking time out of my day to, to meditate, to exercise. It was where I am failing. It is still where I am failing. Like there's my,
moment. I love it. Yeah, this is what Evolve Vets is all about, sharing those vulnerabilities.
But one thing that I did realize, we all make New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
Whether we follow through with them or not, who knows? But this year, I'm like, I'm going to read more.
How's it going?
It's good. I'm at least at 6 or 7 books. I think this year we're only in February, so it's great.
Wow.
But it was one of my passions that I had prior to starting vet school. I loved doing it. I just would get so immersed in whatever I was reading. Whenever I got to vet school, I had to stop because I loved reading fiction and I wouldn't put a book down. So I started reading nonfiction. A little bit more boring, still informative, but
you could put it down at night to get some rest or study for your test.
Yes, I could. So I actually had not done that for a long time, and or just periodically. But this year I've started doing that, and I think it's something that just gives me my own time, my own space. It's like a different world for me, and so I think that helps. I'm not a huge meditator. That has never been my thing. I still may want to try it, but I realized doing that or just having my morning coffee every morning in silence.
You started taking time for you.
Yeah.
And that's what's so important. And don't worry, I was really bad at meditation for years. I literally had to force myself to listen to the Headspace app while I was in the bubble bath because I couldn't do anything else. It was like my hands are literally submersed in water. I have to lay here and, count the clouds or, feel how my body feels in every part. So there is hope for people like you that are like, meditation maybe isn't for me. And to be fair, it's not necessarily for everyone. Some people journal, some people sit in silence with their coffee, right? It's not about doing it a certain way. It's about committing to showing up for yourself, right? Yeah. And that's something that you've had a transformation in, which is so important. Yeah. I love that so much for you. And you're back into fiction. Yeah. I used to read a lot before vet school too, and then I think I got tired of reading in vet school and then just haven't really picked it up since, to be honest.
Yes. I've picked up fiction, nonfiction, you name it, where I'm reading it now. But that's one of my passions. And then I would say my other is baking. So I actually love baking cakes. Every year for my daughter's birthday, she gets to design her own cake and then I have to make it happen. So
cool.
Or whatever she comes up with, I'll make it. So that's my other thing. Whenever I have the time.
I love that. You'll have to send us some pictures of your cakes so we can put them on the show. Amazing. And then at the Evolve Vets, we also talk a lot about our authentic values, the things that really mean a lot to us. And we try to prioritize our life around the things that we value most. What are some of the things that you value in this life?
Yeah. Transparency is actually a huge one for me, whether it's with my husband, my child, with staff members, with anyone within TVMA, anything. I think it's so valuable to be able to have transparency, to be able to communicate well with others. So that's a huge thing for me. advocacy, obviously being in TVMA, just advocating for whatever it is that you believe in. So it doesn't even have to, it doesn't have to pertain to vet med, but just advocate for whatever you believe in. That's a huge one. Another one would be just authenticity, like be yourself. It goes,
I love that one.
Yeah, be yourself, and then just having passion, being able to have compassion, as well, being empathetic. Those are big things for me.
Honestly, as you say these, I can see how each of those connect deeply to your soul and how you show up for everybody around you. So I love that. Is there anything that you're excited about or looking forward to lately?
Yeah. I actually am, gosh, I'm going to put myself out there again, because if I say it, I have to do it. I want to do it, but I am actually going to be applying for ABVP, which stands for the American Board of Veterinary Practice, in canine and feline specialty.
That's so exciting.
So essentially, yeah. So what that essentially is, it's kind of like being boarded in that particular specialty with it. Like there's a big focus on internal med with that. So that's one thing that I'm going to start gathering all my stuff for and applying for.
That's so exciting. Congratulations. That's so fun. And I will be cheering you on as a fellow lady in vet med on this journey. Yeah. So for those of our listeners who are interested in connecting with you or learning more, how can they get in touch?
Yeah, good question. So I have an Instagram. It's cyork32. That's my Instagram handle. And you can also connect with me via email if needed. It's Cheryl at yorkdvm.com. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help anyone along their journey.
Yes, Cheryl's an amazing mentor, and she will definitely help you out. I can guarantee it. Absolutely. Okay, Cheryl, it was so great getting to have this deeper conversation with you and hear a little bit about your journey through veterinary medicine and just how you're showing up as a leader and all the things you're dreaming about next. Thank you so much for spending your time with us.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so happy you're here. All right, together, let's stop revolving and start evolving. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Evolve Vets podcast. It truly means the world to me. If this episode supported you or sparked something new in you, please go to evolvevets.com to become a member or join our coaching program and truly continue this work beyond the podcast. Let's evolve together.